It's feed time, y'all. It's feed time. Ugh. Short legs. Can't run no more. Hello there. Yeah, just in my head. All right, so Junior here with my wife. So I wanted to talk to you guys about our rabbits. And my wife is actually the one that has more information than I do. Again, I'm the builder. I am the carpenter. I am the guy that gets houses built, and I'm proud of it. I like it. I enjoy it. It's a fun time. But I don't know a whole lot about the rabbits. All I know is that my wife said, "Hey, we need rabbits for the homestead," so we got rabbits for the homestead. So with that being said, what rabbits do we have?
So we chose to raise Tamuk, which is the name for a composite breed that was developed at Texas A&M Kingsville, and they were bred for heat tolerance. So they have big ears, which helps them dissipate heat. They have thinner fur, which makes, obviously, thinner fur is better for heat. They're also excellent mothers. They typically have large litters, but the whole heat issue is a big deal in Texas. Last year was particularly brutal for us, and it was 110 degrees, and that's just miserable for everybody. Everybody did fine. We do provide ventilation fans, and when it gets extremely hot, like 110, we also give them frozen water bottles. But everyone does fine. I've never lost a rabbit until last year due to the heat, and it was a mom that was kindling. She was having babies, and it was on one of those really, really hot 110 degree days, and she, between the heat stress and the babies, she unfortunately, I decided to put her down because she was struggling and she was seizing, so I went ahead and put her down. But that was the very first time that we've lost an animal or a Tamuk due to heat related reasons. Now, she was able to breed. Our buck was able to do the job and get it done. So the whole idea behind the Tamuk is that they're heat tolerant, and also that the bucks will breed during the summer heat. And it's true, they will, but it's not something that I'm going to choose to continue to do, because just because you can doesn't mean that you should. That's my take on it. I don't ever want to lose another doe. She was beautiful. I loved her. I don't want to lose a doe just because I want to breed through summer. So it's just not something that I'm going to do anymore. They are physically capable. The bucks do not go heat sterile. They're physically capable of doing it, but why put an animal through undue stress just because? So we're going to do all our breeding from September to May, and they get the summer off because I don't even want to be outside, much less have babies. So they get the summer off now.
So we've had them roughly.
We've had them since July of
2020. Yeah.
We got them. They were one of the first animals that we got on the homestead, second to the goat.
Yeah.
So they've been here with us from the very beginning. We have one that is from that time.
She's still one of the original ones,
Her
right?
name is Asia.
Asia,
yeah. She just recently had 5 kits.
She's always given us.
She always had very small litters.
But very healthy though. Very healthy.
Weaned at, really heavy. So
yeah.
On one hand, you can have a bunch of kits and they all wean a little lighter because there's a lot of stress on mom to feed them. Or you can have, 4 or 5 really fat kids. It was okay for me. I always heard that they would give bigger litters. She never did. 5 was her biggest. But her daughter, Lola, which we have in our rabbitry now, she's a rock star. She's had up to 13. Her latest litter was 10. And that's fine. And they are all healthy. But there's a wide range. But I had another doe just kindle 12 a couple weeks ago, and she did great, and they're all healthy. None of them passed away.
Is she from the line?
No, she's from a whole different line.
So, what was one of the reasons that we chose to go with meat rabbits?
They're lean and easy to reproduce source of protein. That's the main reason. And then I chose Tamuk because it's hot here.
It's
so
hot in Texas.
We wanted to be able to produce our own lean meat, and it's a great way to be able to do that.
So,
secondary to that, we wanted to be able to use the manure. Rabbit manure is considered a cold manure, which means that you can add it directly to your garden without composting. It is cold. It will not harm your plants. So we're not good gardeners yet. One day we will be. Anyway, but rabbit manure is really easy to use in your garden, a great source of fertilizer that you do not have to compost before using.
So our friends Sydney and Tori, they did a video about Tamuks because they're raising them as well. And the goal is for us to get together one day and process the rabbits, whether it's here at our place or at their place.
Well, we need to process at least 2 before Monday because
yes.
I started participating in our local Rico Ring in Canton. And basically it's an online farmers market where you find local producers, and there's everything from meat, produce, value added products like soap, baked goods. Anyway, you pre-purchase your product online, and then you meet up at a certain pre-specified destination, which is at the picket fence in Canton. And
for ours, so
our location.
So where is this from? Like, how did you?
Rico rings are just popping up in our area, but
through Facebook or?
Yeah, it's on Facebook.
Okay.
But Rico rings started in Europe as a way of making local products available to consumers in our area.
So in other words, if in your local town, cities, look out for those on Facebook.
Google Rico rings in your county, in your surrounding towns. And if there's not one, look into other Rico rings, see how they're run, and start one yourself.
Yeah.
It's a really cool idea. You get local producers from around the area. They present their products online for a week for the public to be able to pre-purchase. And then on a pre-designated day, you show up with your products that have been bought already. People show up to pick them up, and you're done. And the next week starts over again. So we are offering free-range eggs, pastured chicken. We have whole rabbits, elderberry syrup, and craft lard.
So there's all kinds of things that you guys can get on those Rico rings. And we originally, when we started our homestead, it was for us to keep us, busy. We never thought about turning this into a business, but because of what we've done on Facebook and Instagram and now on YouTube, guys, our rabbits have, thank God, have started producing for us, and people are buying from us. So we decided to.
We never intended for it to be a business. I actually remember telling Junior that I never wanted to have more than 6 cages, and now I do have more than 6, and I want more. So here we are. I don't know. It just happens. It's like
not chicken math. It's not.
I don't know. Rabbits produce.
They do, and they're amazing. So that's what this video is about. And I wanted to because my wife understands the breed very well. I make the buildings, and I help out with everything else. But the goal for us is to have 3 bucks all year round and 6 does. Now that's a lot, guys. You don't need that many because they will produce.
If you start with just a pair or a trio, that's plenty for you to have your own manure to use in your garden and to produce meat for yourself. The cool thing about this is even if you don't live in the country, rabbits are such low profile animals, and they're not technically considered livestock. You can have them in the city. It's an easy way for you to become more self-sufficient in even a little small way. You can have a couple chickens. Most cities are transitioning to allow 5 or 6 chickens, no roos.
No roos.
But a chicken will still produce eggs for you, even without a rooster.
Yes. For those that don't know, for those that don't know, you don't need a rooster for chickens to lay their eggs. Some chickens will start laying sooner than others, but that's all. And don't let somebody tell you it's the feed, guys. Please don't. It might be.
Could it be? Maybe. But honestly, chickens go through a period where they slow down or completely stop production every year seasonally because of the lack of light. I'm not saying that there hasn't been any manipulation of feed. There could have been, but honestly, it's a natural cycle that they go through. It's to be expected. We didn't experience anything along those lines. We did experience lower production, but we were still getting some eggs. There were a couple of weeks in December where it was a little sketchy, but they picked right back up, and we didn't change anything. We didn't change our feed. We didn't feed them more. They just started laying again naturally because the sun started staying out again longer. Back to rabbits.
And we're back.
So
we keep saying meat. What is the grow out ratio for these guys? What are we looking at? Are we looking at 5 months, 10 months?
You typically want to process your rabbits at about 12 to 16 weeks. So that's 3 to 4 months. They should reach 5 pounds within that time. And that's on foot. Once you process them, they will be about 2.5 to 3 pounds. Our animals do not like to let us talk. They all start hollering. Anyway, so
it's a farm.
At 3 to 4 months, you process. The older they get, the harder they are to skin. So you want to process them young enough to where they're easy to skin. But 5 pounds or 12 weeks, whatever comes sooner. Sometimes they don't quite reach 5 pounds at 12 weeks, and that's okay with me. We'll just let them grow out a little bit longer. Some lines do, and that's fine. We're kind of figuring out which one of our crosses, which doe and which buck produces a faster grower. We've been at this for about 2.5 years, but only selling for the last year or so. So we're still kind of learning which crosses are going to do the better meat ratio and growth time. But 12 to 16 weeks you want to process. You can still process them later. You can process an older buck or an older doe. They're just harder to skin. But they will be much bigger because a full-grown Tamuk is 10 to 16 pounds. So it's a lot more meat, but as older animals go, it's a little tougher.
A little bit tougher.
So
and maybe
it would be best to maybe slow cook that rabbit versus a fryer.
Grilled or fried. Yeah. Okay. So
also, rabbit meat is really good. You can substitute it in any of your recipes for chicken or pork. So you can do a not chicken salad. You can do rabbit flautas instead of chicken flautas. You can do a delicious rabbit roast with potatoes and carrots.
So y'all know that I'm a foodie. I like to eat and I like to cook. So if you guys want a video on that, leave the comments. Leave something on the comments for us, and we'll see what we can do for you guys, because we will be processing
this weekend for sure. I have a couple of orders for rabbits to deliver on Monday, so we'll be processing some point between this afternoon and Sunday because I need to get them frozen.
Yeah, we got to get them frozen and get them ready, and like I said, we will be shooting a video on that, so be on the lookout for that, guys.
So rabbits multiply quickly. In theory, you could breed your doe every 30 days on the dot. In nature, if they were in a colony, the buck would breed her immediately as soon as she was done having kits. So she would be rebred. So in nature, a mama would wean her kits at 3 to 4 weeks because she's got the next litter coming. I leave them with mom a little longer, typically 6 weeks, and then separate them.
Is there a reason why?
Well, I think that we tend to humanize our livestock, and I don't have to leave them with them for that long, but
it's a preference thing.
I do. It's a personal preference. Okay. There have been times where I've bred right after kindling because the mom was having small litters. or I think she's over-conditioned or fat, and it's difficult for them to get bred when they're too fat. So
that's a great
breeding
point.
back immediately helps reduce their internal fat, which can cause a problem for breeding. That would be one scenario where I would breed back right away and pull the kits, 3-4 days before she kindles, so she has time to build up colostrum, which is important for all animals, rabbits and ruminants.
So you brought up, keeping them in decent shape. What type of feed do we use?
We use a complete pellet, which is
it's a lot of alfalfa based, right? Yeah.
So it's a higher protein. It's about 16%. And with a complete pellet, you do not need to feed hay, although we do.
We do.
Supplement with hay. It's
any kind of hay?
No, it's not necessary. What's recommended is Timothy hay. Okay. But it's difficult for us to source in our area, so I stopped using Timothy after our first year. Live and learn kind of thing. We would get the compressed bales from Tractor Supply, but I found that they were pricey, one, and two, they were very dusty, and our rabbits would develop respiratory issues, which was concerning because we thought that maybe they had snuffles, which is a rabbit respiratory disease. That's not good. Turned out that it was not snuffles, because as soon as I eliminated the source of their allergen, which was the dusty Timothy hay, their sneezing went away. So it was not snuffles, it was environmental that we were creating. So we have then switched to coastal hay, which is readily available in our area. Word of caution, make sure that you source your hay from someone who does not spray the fields with Grazon or any other broadleaf herbicide, because it does not go away passing through their system. It will stay in their manure, and then you're going to use the manure in your garden, and your garden's not going to be doing great, and you're going to be going, what's going on?
What happened?
It's because your hay was tainted with herbicides.
Now,
we learned that lesson the hard way.
Yes, we did.
I planted some cabbage and winter vegetables,
yes,
and I put manure at the bottom of all of my little holes, and my cabbage never grew. It just stayed small. It literally never grew. It stayed stunted, and I couldn't figure out why. But then I found some information in one of our rabbit groups, and someone mentioned it, and it was like, boom, that's what's going on. So we switched our source of hay and found some that was sourced from someone who does not treat their pastures.
Thank you, Mariah.
Anyway, so we've switched our source of hay, so now we can safely use our rabbit manure in our garden.
Not to say that you can't use the other one, you just don't recommend using it in your garden.
You can't use it in your garden.
Just throw it in your pasture or your
What we're doing is put it in our pasture, because I don't mind that there's not weeds in the pasture.
Yeah, there's nothing
that's okay with me. So it'll eliminate some weed growth there for us, and that's okay. What else? So we talked about breeding. Rabbits breed immediately after birth. It's a 30-day gestational period. They will have their kits, and mamas will only feed their kits twice a day, sometimes once a day. But they won't go in there and check on them, and they're not super motherly. They will have their kids in their nest box. They will pull fur, and then they're going to leave them alone until they feel like it's time to feed. And typically twice a day they'll go in there, feed the babies, jump out, and they're done. Once babies open their eyes at about 10 days, we give the nest box a cleaning and get out any of the old urine-soaked hay or fur and toss it out, because babies can get nest box eye, which is an infection of the eye. So we pull that out, put clean hay in there, and then they're ready to go. After about another week, we tip the nest box over so that the babies can easily get out, because at that point they've got their eyes open and they're ready to explore. And then we tip the nest box over, and mama can still get away from them by jumping up on top of the side of the nest box, and she will, because they immediately want to nurse and bother her. So that's her getaway spot. And we do that for about another week, and then we remove the nest box completely, somewhere around 3 weeks. And then they just hang out with mom until they're about 6 weeks old, and then I remove mom from the nest. I'm sorry, from the cage. It's best to remove mom from the cage. That way, it's less stressful for the kids.
Especially if you got 12 of them.
Yeah, so you don't want to. You could, I guess, but it's less stressful to remove mom than it is to remove the kids.
And by that time, she's ready to go too, right? Like
she's like done with them.
Yeah, she's done.
We have found that some moms are ready to be away from them way sooner. So they will self-wean, get these things away from me, kind of thing. Like she'll start attacking or acting aggressively towards them, not like killing them or anything, but just kind of batting them away from her. And at that point, we know it's time to get her out of there.
And that's like, but you notice trends like that with your mamas, and you kind of mentally note that, right? And then
so you get knowledge from other people or research that you've done,
or your own everyday.
Well, yes, that. But I had never really read that before. But at one point, we saw Mama being aggressive with the babies at about 5 or 6 weeks, and it was like, what is she doing? I need to get her out of there. So she's telling you. It's time to get these babies out of here. I don't want them anymore, and it's fine. So listen to your animals, spend time with them. You'll get to know behaviors.
Another thing too, I always tell my wife to wear gloves. She doesn't. They're very, very strong guys. So
they are prey animals, first of all. So knowing that, when you pick them up, it feels unsafe, uncomfortable for them. Because they're prey animals and they feel threatened. So their instinct is to protect themselves and scratch. And they do. Yeah. So just be cautious handling. A lot of people like to wear gloves. I don't know. It's kind of like...
Yeah. No, you need to
I don't ever remember. I'm out here all the time, but I don't always bring gloves. Like rarely ever. So... I do get scratched often, and it happens. I don't know. It's not a terrible big deal to me.
But again, like she does it this way, so try it. If it works with gloves for you, go for it. If not, then do what she does. And like I said, I
have all the scars.
Yeah, so I've got big hands, and I can handle them a little bit better. But they'll get me too. They've gotten me often, and I'm like, why didn't I wear my gloves, And
because you're out here, and unless you're like, I don't know, super prepared, and I'm not a super prepared person. I'm a procrastinator, first of all, and I
just roll with
things as I go. Anyway, we love our rabbits. They're friendly. They're a great source of protein. They reproduce quickly. They don't require a lot of input as far as feed goes. We free feed our rabbits pellets, but other sources will say that you feed 1 ounce of pellet per pound of rabbit. So if you've got a 5-pound rabbit, you should be feeding 5 ounces a day. I did that at first, but with experience and time, I've learned that I can get away with not doing that. So we free feed. And I haven't really had an issue with it. I suppose if we did, then I might change that strategy, but I've gotten away with it so far, so that's what we do.
I think that's about it, guys. I mean...
Ta-da! Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe. And share if you think our content is relevant. We enjoy spending time with you and reading your comments. So please leave any if you have any questions or suggestions. We'd love to hear it.
Definitely do, guys. So what I'm gonna do, we gotta go into town. She's gonna go in there. I'm pretty sure she's gonna go get a coat or something. No, you're not gonna go get a jacket. No, okay.